question I have to ask is very simple. Amalgamation of Nigeria is in the minds of every Nigerian. In 1914, can you tell us the various treaties that Lord submitted to the British Parliament that led to that amalgamation? Because I know when you go to a dentist, he tells you, do you want amalgam or do you want composite? And what is amalgam? Amalgam is the silver metal being joined together by mercury. When you mix all of them, they become stiff, and they use it to build the teeth. So there must be certain ingredients in terms of treaties that must have led to the amalgamation of Nigeria. And what are those treaties, please?
Thank you. I like that. And we would, I don't know if anyone from the high table would like to take answer that question. It's a medical question that politics and history going together. All right. Okay. Can we take one more question? Yeah. You.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I think...
Please introduce yourself.
Okay, Dr. Boniface Cheese here. Well, I think that the point to make, like you said in your comment, do we have a country? And that's the issue. And so, for me, having a nation is one step removed. We need to reclaim our country. Our country is going to perdition. It's drifting. If you don't get it right, like as we said severally, 2023, we are done for. And so we need to get a country. Having a nation is something complicated, as you know. In shared vision, values, and so on and so forth. Social contract is in place. So we don't have it. So that's my concern. But maybe I'm splitting the hairs here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we are being insensitive gender-wise. Professor Mrs. Azikiwe, our mother, would like to speak. Please, can you?
Please permit me to start. When I was invited, I didn't know the details of what we are coming here to. So, from what happened today, I want to say to Ambassador Bioso, thank you, sir, for putting this together. Why am I saying this? I am saying this because all that have been said here, I think we are just saying that Nnamdi Azikiwe's legacy lives on. He is still alive. Anything about Nigeria, he is always compromising. They are told that when they didn't agree with him, one Nigeria, he said, okay, let us go to federalism. Let's have Nigeria's independence. So I am happy that he lives on. There is nothing that could be done in Nigeria without Nnamdi Azikiwe being remembered for the little part he played in creating this great country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That forms part of the forgotten heroes because, like the lecturer said, what is wrong with us? How can we begin to forget Zik? What is wrong with us, for goodness sake? And then we had 460 people honored in this country, and we didn't know more than half of them and what they did for us. Something is wrong. The gentleman standing in front, please introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Mazin Namde Udo. Prof, there are 3 Namdes in Nigeria. One is Nnamdi Azikiwe, the second one is me, and then all others. And any Nnamdi must be political. My moderator, I just want to make a humble submission. His Excellency Ahmed said the qualities we require for the good leaders that we want to emerge in Nigeria. Let's re-echo those leaders' qualities. Whether it's a northerner or it's a Christian, he said the same thing. The chairman said the same thing. The lecturer used Clifford as an example, different from what Lord Logan did, and our pa also re-echoed it. What are the qualities we require for the next leaders? Let's publicize it. Let's use it as summary for nationalism, whether it's Igbo, whether it's an Nnamdi, whether it's an Ahmed, or a Muhammad, he must carry these qualities. That's my submission. Thank
you.
you.
We have been accused several in this country for talking and no action. What should be the takeaway from this huge gathering? What should it be? Should we just go home and say, oh, this and that spoke? What should be, I mean, is it restructuring? Is it nationalism? What do we get out of this, for goodness sake? Is it good leadership? No, you can't, please. I am. Okay. The chairman would like to make a closing statement, but before then, our host. Yeah. Oh, Professor Akiteroma, you've been here. I didn't know.
Thank you, sir. My name is Bola Akiteroma, a professional student. The question, two quick questions.
Sorry, he used to own this place, for your information. He could ask us to leave. Thank you, sorry, sir.
No, thank you, sir. Having listened to Professor Obiozo and Dr. Akim, can it be rightly argued that Nigeria's 1999 constitution is very fraudulent and not tenable? Why? Because Professor Obiozo raised the issue of non-negotiability of Nigeria's unity, and Dr. Akim said he agreed with him that, look, it doesn't make sense. There is only the probably military or some other people, certainly not even the northerners, who will say that Nigeria's national unity is not negotiable. So there is an Obiozo Hakim school of thought, according to which Nigeria's unity can be negotiated. But when you go to the 1999 constitution, it is clearly stated that Nigeria's unity, as well as the territory, not negotiable and indissoluble. It is on this basis that President Muhammadu Buhari probably has had the effrontery to say we cannot talk about negotiability of unity. But from what we have listened to here, and we all agree that, look, if it is negotiable, there's something is wrong with the 1999 constitution, and the problem should be handled at that level. The second question is that, I don't know, is Dr. Akim too or Ambassador Giaco voting for the best, and not because of any other factors all along? How can you vote for the best without also factoring in the other issues? What do I mean by this? For instance, the governor of Bauchi State, in a television interview with Channels Television, said that the government of Nigeria has already been welcoming, inviting Fulani investment from West and Central Africa, that they should come and occupy the ungoverned spaces in Nigeria. Now, that is Fulanization. Obasanjo drew the attention of the people of Nigeria to an Islamization and Fulanization agenda of President Buhari. So, in this case, if on the one hand, we are talking about Fulanization of Nigeria, if we remember, because we are talking about solution, Muammar Gaddafi said there will never be any enduring peace in Nigeria until Nigeria is divided into Muslim North and Christian South. So as a professional student, when we look at all these factors, and we listen to Ambassador Akim, there's no way I will not agree with Ayo Adebanjo that, look, we are all deceiving ourselves. So in this case, you cannot vote for the best, all right, competencies without looking at all these issues. So they go pari passu. And in this case, if we are going to vote, what is the position of this best candidate on these national issues? Respectfully submitted.
Thank you. I would invite Opadike, Dr. Ezife, to maybe give us the last.
I'm grateful to everybody who has spoken, especially to my public enemy number one, Ayo Adebanjo. Yes, gentlemen, I think we should go back to our knees to pray God. We've seen his hand already in the field of Nigerian politics. We should pray God to keep his hand there and make sure that his design, God's design for Nigeria is achieved. And that design is for Nigeria as a superpower among nations. We are going to have an election 2023. No interim government. And that election will succeed. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would invite the chairman to give his short closing remarks so that we can go.
What are we going on with in this election?
Nobody has provided it. I called you and you called another person. Please, can you give up your plan?
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, what we are taking home, particularly, is that a nation that forgets its own history lived through it several times in agony and anguish. Believe me, anybody of our age today in Nigeria knows that history is about to repeat itself in Nigeria. There's a book by Selum. Remember the book? Some of you are television. You go and read that book written about Nigeria and coups and the beginning of civil war. In 1964, the situation looks like that today. You will see, when you deny a people a chance of appointment into higher office and deny them capacity to make changes through the legislator, what do you want them to do? The same thing that caused the problem, injustice, caused the Abiola problem. Caused the same problem. Believe it or not, before independence, that is also the same problem. When the British advised Balewa that the British advised the military that was retreating from Nigeria, that Wedi should report to Balewa and not on Nanda Zikiwa. Have you read about it? But he will be commander-in-chief. Is it true? Read our history. In Igbo land and throughout Nigeria, they say, in this country, trouble they sleep, Yangado do what? We are there again. So learn your lesson and stop repeating history. This country cannot move forward with injustice. Injustice is the greatest tragedy of any nation. Believe me, as long as our leaders, some of them, continue to play the ostrich and combine two deadly sins in politics, ignorance and arrogance, we have a problem. I thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Hello? Now, I want everybody's attention here because I'm saying the last. From now, when I finish, we are closing. Because as the moderator said, there are some of us who are slightly older than we can withstand hunger and tiredness. Now, the first thing, the mistake we made, I think, is that we did not appoint rapporteurs for this very important general meeting. It turned out to be a general meeting. It was a lecture captioned, but the circumstances surrounding the lecture and the events in the country now have turned it into such a general discussion, which we ought to have had a rapporteur that will collate all the points and will make a kind of a policy decision point. Not communicate. Now, the question which Hakim asked, and I think probably it was a suggestion, but I wanted to regard it as a kind of a challenge. We all realize, sitting here, that the life of Nigeria cannot be closed because we've given it Kamoquin. We have to be a nation, and we're going to be a nation within the Committee of Nations, and we must continue to progress and move forward. We cannot live in isolation. And because we want to move forward and progress, we will have to have opportunities for interaction at all times and every time. Discussion of how we live with one another must be open. We must therefore, within that discussion period, show sincerity and the unity of purpose. What we are doing, if we say our unity, our togetherness, our living is not negotiable, is a dead, poisonous point. Nothing will make human beings more deadly than stopping to talk to each other, discuss. And that goes back into the nationalism building. We must talk and discuss. Know what irks me, what pleases me, what annoys you, and what makes you very, very sad. And we try and we identify that and avoid them. It's not a child's play. And we cannot decree against discussing Nigeria's problem. That must go on. Hakim made a point, which I personally think he meant it. Now we've come to a stage where we must come together and think less about the political thinking than the national survival of our nation, Nigeria. Leader of Afenifere has come here and said, unless we look at what happened and see what we are heading for and see where we can avoid loopholes, we are going about blind. And that is not good for our country. What is happening in our country now is total disbelief. I don't believe what you are saying about what you are. I don't think you mean it. We are totally disbelieving. We're brought to a stage where we don't believe a single other person's own thought. How can we overcome that? By sitting just at home? No. Come together. We have Afenifere here today. We have a leadership here. We have Middle Belt Forum. We have Haneze. If the Constitution, the 1999 Constitution says the National Assembly cannot discuss that, the social organizations can put that together, can invite themselves, and nothing stops them talking about it. Is when they arrive at a concrete and very discernible and practicable solution that they can now go to government. This is what the government is for the people. And unless we now form a kind of a front and let the government, which we incidentally are electing, the military is no more there. So it's not a matter of being keep quiet, no. If Afenifere will get together with Northern Leaders Forum, Middle Belt Forum, and all that, and come together privately, not under government control, we will discuss. I will come up with something that will now be able to force government to act on. Now, I suggest, therefore, that the lecture today has turned into something different, but positive. And the leaders of this organization, this socio-cultural organization, now think that it's a challenge. Somebody should come up, call them together with not a population, but with people who can think with them, come with 5 or 6 or each, sit together and discuss everything that's gone wrong and you think can be corrected. No, nothing to hide. Of course, if you come with 200 people for this and you won't discuss anything, everybody will play into the gathering. Can't feel you've done that before. If you have done it, do it again. Because what you did is not being enforced or is not being effective. But if you now get tired that you've done it before, nothing has happened, that is the end of it. Do it, try again. That is one thing that makes a fox succeed. So please, it's good that the leaders of these social cultural organizations are here. And let us be frank to ourselves. I am glad that Afenifere talked frankly to leaders of the Northern Leaders Forum, Northern Elders Forum. That is how it should be. But it shouldn't be where everybody was listening and say, okay, he beat the other fellow. No, come together, talk together, frankly, one-to-one, and you'll get results. Finally, I want to thank everybody that found time to be here. I want to thank particularly the Ohanese Ndibo for summoning us to come here. It has given us some food for thought. Even if we have not conclusively come to the aims of our gathering here, we have made a start. And they say a journey of the 1,000 miles starts with what? We have started. Don't be discouraged. And I thank you very much. Please go home safely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. Once again, I would like to thank the lecturer, thank Pa Adabanjo, all the people on the high table. I greet you again. I want to thank all the distinguished personalities, the special guests and the guests who were particularly invited to this occasion. I want to thank members of Ohanese who are here. I want to thank PANDEF members, Middle Belt Forum representatives, and every other organization that is here. I want to thank all of you. We have refreshments. When we get outside this door, we take right. We're going to have some refreshment, but that will be after the closing prayer by Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed, and then the national anthem.
We thank you, Allah, for this day. We thank you for the great lecture delivered by Professor Oshuntoku. We thank you for the wisdom and the foresight of Ohanese Ndibo for organizing this. We thank you for everybody who has come here. Allah, you know more than we do the state of our country. You know there is so much anger, there is so much frustration, there is so much search for the way out. Help us. This country was formed by you, not by colonialists, but by you. We are in your hands and we ask you, by your power and by your grace, show us the way forward. Do not let us let generations behind down. Help our country regain its strength and its energy. Let it be a shining beacon for the black race. Let us find answers to the many questions we ask. Subhana rabbuka rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala mursalin alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Thank you.
After the national anthem, there will be a group photograph outside the national anthem.